we are just 1 week away from the Iowa caucuses. On January 15th, the first voters in the nation will get their say on who will represent the Republican Party in the general election. Former President Donald Trump is currently leading the Republican field in both the Hawkeye state and nationally. CBS News senior and White House political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins us now from Iowa. Ed, good to have you here. What are you hearing on the ground from Trump headquarters in Iowa?
Robert, with 1 week to go, there's no question that the former president is in the lead. At this point, it's just a question perhaps of by how much might he pull this off. He told supporters over the weekend, act like you were down by 1%. Don't believe those polls that say we're 35, 40 points ahead. He may have a point, and it's probably a good thing to be telling people with a week to go because you don't want them to get complacent. But he's got plenty of people helping him out. We've met some of them in recent days. Let's start with a guy named Gary Loeffler, well known across the state to Republicans, somebody who's been showing up to Trump events since 2016 with his red tractor, someone who ran for Congress after Trump was elected and lost, and someone who showed up at the January 6th events in Washington, though he says he didn't go to the U.S. Capitol. We talked to him about his decision to become a caucus captain for the former president on caucus night. Take a listen.
Basically, as a caucus captain, you're going to give the 5-minute speech because all the candidates, if they have a captain there or they have a supporter there, they'll be able to give a 5-minute speech, kind of like you're in the bottom of the ninth and we're on the final coming around, right? I mean, hey, can they get the ball across the goal line type of mentality, right? Yeah. And so that's that last 5 minutes that someone that's maybe sitting there undecided, still sitting on that fence and goes, you know what? I like what that guy said. I'm gonna write Trump's name in.
So you got to be the closer.
Yeah, we're the closer. Yes, we're that high-paid relief pitcher in the bottom of the ninth.
But you've also got to be someone who puts butts in the seats, right?
Right.
That's part of the job as well.
Yeah, like we're calling people. We're trying to get more people to come to the precinct caucus. So we're that cowboy out the rodeo. We're trying to round them up.
You get the point. Basically, he is one of what are potentially up to 1,600 caucus captains the former president needs at these individual caucuses that are held all across this tiny state, with just a handful of Republicans in each one. Loeffler is also part of a handful of people who are spending time at Trump campaign headquarters in these closing days, trying to find those people to turn out. And again, you may think to yourself, well, isn't this what every campaign does? Yeah, but Donald Trump didn't do this back in 2016, and it's part of why he lost. Here, listen to a woman named Angela, but first another guy named John Goodrich, who's been with the former president as well since 2016, and provides a little perspective. What's the biggest difference you notice in his operation from when he first ran to this time?
They didn't have much of a ground game. This was not going on when he ran in 2016. Now he's got a much stronger ground game.
So what you're telling me is they're taking this a lot more seriously and studiously than they did back in 2016.
Well, they understand what a caucus is. It's not just walk in and vote. It's neighborhood get-together, and it is truly grassroots. And the caucus process is all volunteer, county by county, precinct by precinct. And you have to contact your precinct voters because turnout is the key.
So what are they asking you to do tonight?
So I'm making phone calls. There's so many people on here. I've been calling in my precinct, so I have a list of about 400 people in my local precinct, and getting them to commit to caucus for President Trump on that night.
The goal is to bring at least 10 people with you.
Right.
So what does the bell mean?
When you get somebody to commit to caucus. Yep.
So that's been going off a few times.
Yeah.
So that's not a guarantee they're going to show up. They're at least telling you guys we'll be there.
Right.
Okay.
And so every time you hear a bell, it's someone who has committed. They say, I'm going to come to caucus, and I'm going to support President Trump. So occasionally we'll have a few people that will say, I plan on attending caucus, and I'm undecided. And I said, that's fantastic, especially if they're my precinct. I said, I hope I can persuade you by what I have to say. So that's
now you're just rubbing it in.
These young workers are intense, and they're competitive.
Have you found your 10?
I have 30.
You have 30?
Yep.
Okay.
30, and I'm not done. I'm going to keep calling.
So you get the idea. Again, this may seem typical in other states, Bob, but as you know, you've got to be able to go that surgical, precinct by precinct, county by county, street by street, to find every single registered Republican. 8 years ago, Donald Trump thought it was just about crowd size and big arena-style rallies, and he lost to Ted Cruz.
Ed.
The Trump team, and the DeSantis team would argue Nikki Haley is coming in too late to try to do what they've been up to for months. Now we've seen how the former president's doing it.
Ed, let's step back for a second. You've been on the ground in Iowa, and it's fascinating to see the operation for the Trump campaign. But you talked to someone who participated in January 6th. They said they didn't enter the Capitol, but they were nearby the Capitol on January 6, 2021.
Yep.
You have the former president out there in speech after speech calling those who have been indicted or imprisoned related to January 6 offenses or allegations are, quote, hostages. You have his rhetoric against President Biden escalating by the day with threatening to indict and go after President Biden should Trump win the White House again. Are those issues, those statements, and Trump's legal challenges, which will come again to the fore this week, at all on the mind of Iowa Republicans?
They agree with the former president, many of them do, including Loeffler, that if you were a nonviolent participant in the January 6th insurrection, they should be pardoned. How would you define nonviolent? If you've been charged with something, then clearly you probably did something wrong. Unclear. But they hear him and they agree with him. On the issue of going after the Biden administration, they generally agree with that as well. And those are among his supporters. You talk to Republicans with supporting the other candidates, and they make arguments similar to DeSantis and Haley, that he may not be the best person to win a general election campaign for all those reasons you just listed. And yet, despite their consistent warnings, DeSantis and Haley's, they don't appear to be getting close enough to him to win next week unless there's some organizational fluke we haven't been able to pick up on after weeks and months of having personnel here. So, you know, there's a reason he continues to say what he says this weekend, suggesting that they should be pardoned and calling on the president to do so, which he has signaled he would not do. It's because when he does it, he finds agreement, and it only sustains his support. And for the legal matters, as one woman said to me on Friday, Bob, the more they try to make him into a martyr, the more followers he draws, is in essence what many of these people believe, that all of these federal and state cases against him, the civil case in New York, are only going to help him because they believe Americans ultimately will come to his side, believing that he's being unfairly targeted.
And Ed, quickly, you've been covering Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on the ground. He's put such an emphasis on Iowa. What's his chance right now of coming in a strong second to Trump?
I still think there's a good chance he comes in a strong second because what he has been doing, what Trump demonstrated, his team demonstrated to us over the weekend, his team has been doing that since the spring. It's been his super PAC, Never Back Down, this group that basically has not only done all that work, but transported him across the state because he dumped all of his political money into this super PAC to allow it to happen. But they've been doing that spade work as well. And so when we spoke with him over the weekend, he continues to signal, I understand that in this state you have to do it methodically, surgically, find people door to door. And my team has been doing that. Therefore, I think that we're going to do better than the media, the pundits would believe. Based on our observations, yes, they have a formidable team here. Veteran operatives and observers agree they have done good work and the kind of work that needs to be done to perform well. And he says he's got more than 1,500 precinct captains for those roughly 1,600 precincts across the state. That would signal a serious operation as well. It's just a matter of who can turn out enough people a week from tonight, Bob, when temperatures are expected to be somewhere close to 7 degrees, the coldest in modern history for a caucus.
Iowans and most Americans don't want to do political activity in that kind of weather, but they're certainly getting motivated to come out, at least in some quarters, as you've been covering, Ed. Ed O'Keefe, thank you for your reporting.